This all started after I started smoking pot. Once my brother came to California and introduced me to the wonders of marijuana, my schooling went down the shitter.
Can we play like a little fucking song?
Oh, yeah.
Which is the one we, not the Vietnam one we always do. We need a nice Pots song for Anthony. Because I just heard music when you just said that.
It was.
Like when I discovered pot and
when
the
I
music
discovered
kicks in.
the weed. The weed, man. And I was so against, like, pot.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wait, start over. Let's do a little fucking producing here today. All right, go back a little bit and go when I discovered pot.
Yeah, I was against pot.
Yeah.
And I knew my brother was smoking it with the neighbors.
Yeah.
The Omen family that lived next door from us. Oh, my God. Ooh. My mother used to say, don't go near the Omen's house because she knew they smoked weed and everything. Oh, my goodness. What's going on? They're dancing. They're doing a Soul Train dance thing.
A boob almost fell out.
I know. I'm waiting. So my brother would go over there and smoke the weed. And I was like, oh, my God, I'm telling mom. My brother would be like, don't be a faggot. And I'd tell mom I was a faggot. So I went out to California and still totally against weed, and especially the upbringing then. It was my father, very strict and very equestrian. You know, if you were cowboy, people that smoked pots, they were the hippies and shit like that.
And you were an A student, right?
Not A, but
you
I
were
did
really
well,
into,
yeah.
You were really into school.
I loved science. Was fucking like my passion was science. I had chemistry sets, microscopes, model rocketry. I was just into like all science, loved math. And
so you like getting your learn on.
Shit like that. I was getting my learn on, yo.
Yeah.
And then my mother could not take my brother out there anymore. Now, I was gone, and I think that helped my mother out, like me being there. And then when my brother just started completely fucking up, she shipped his ass out to California. That my father, the responsible one, he was going to whip my brother into shape. All it ended up doing was my brother now smoking really good pot from California, and me starting to smoke it because I found it in my model rocket, in the nose cone of my model rocket, a bunch of joints. And Joe talked about it, and Joe always just looked so relaxed and mellow. I was this tense fucking mess of a child. I'd cry at the drop of a hat. I'd shake. I'd get palpitations in fucking sixth grade. I'm just freaking out all the time.
And he's like,
and my brother's just like,
what's up, Anthony?
My brother be like,
what's your problem?
Anthony, what's the fucking problem? There's no fucking problem. No, you don't understand. My grades, and Dad's drunk again, and we're driving, and I'm afraid we're going to go off the cliff on the Ortega Highway. I'm just petrified of everything. We didn't eat last night because Dad hasn't had a job in 3 months, yet he has 8 tall boys. You know, it would have been nice to get a sandwich, Dad.
There were times you didn't eat.
Oh
my God!
And then
it was bad in my house, but I think we always had food.
The worst thing was my stomach growling like a motherfucker, and my father going, "Get in the back of the pickup. We got to go feed the horses." And then I'm starving, throwing flakes of hay into the horse corrals and watching them eating, going, meal. You lucky fucking horsey.
Right.
The horse is eating. Meanwhile, the horse's ass is hungry.
Exactly. The crying fucking ass. So I was just like, you know, I was so wound up. That spring was just...
Right.
And then, you know, of course, also I just had like skin problems that was so bad. So it wasn't even like I could just go, well, screw this, I'll get a girlfriend or something like that. You know, I had to be extra nice and put the smile on and be the fun guy, even though I just was I was ready to explode with just resentment and just, you know, I fucking wanted more out of life than what was going on there.
Were you overcompensating, you think, because you're insecure?
Oh, dude, completely. I was the nicest kid with just anger brewing inside me and just like sadness and depression, resentment, like everything. And just nervous. I was like a chihuahua. You ever see a chihuahua when new people come in the house and they're just and they're shaking? That was me. Horrible. And then there was Joe. Don't sweat it, Am. What are you doing? What's your problem? I got things to do. What? What? I'm like, God, he's stoned, I guess. So I found one of his joints, went out to the riverbed there, and decided I'm just going to try this out.
By yourself?
By myself.
Fuck, that's
because I
brave.
didn't want to. If I told my brother
That's
I wanted to
actually really
smoke,
brave.
it was going to be like a thing.
Right.
I didn't want it to be a thing.
You just wanted to get it over with.
I just wanted to see what this fucking pot was all about. So I went into a little pump house that was there in the riverbed and shut the door and smoked an entire joint of scents. It was great. It's tasted good. It was kind of fun to do by myself. It smelled great. So
You knew how much to smoke?
no, I heard all I heard was you'd never get high the first time you smoke. So I assumed I'll smoke twice then now. I'll smoke half the joint. There, that's my first time. Now I'm going to smoke the other half. There's my second time. I smoked the entire thing.
Jesus.
And I was sitting down in a very dark place, so I didn't notice. You know, a lot of your sensory perception is just deadened by the darkness. There was no real sound in there. It smelled like just a musty water pump station. And I couldn't see. It was dark. And I've said this before. I opened the door after I smoked this joint, and my life had changed. That day,
It was over, Johnny.
That day,
Cue music. Thank you,
my
Johnny.
life had changed.
Right.
The first thought I had was Dorothy, after the tornado, stepping out of the black and white house into colorful Oz. Because I just saw, like, it was black in there.
Yeah.
And I just saw a riverbed. The river was running. There was bamboo, green like I'd never seen it in my life. Hills of green grass, and I heard every sound. The river, you could hear a babbling a brook over the rocks, and I heard the wind blowing the bamboo shoots together. And I looked around. I looked up and around, and I for a